In this video, we're going to take a look at activity 3.1.2, basic outputs programming utilizing the VEX v5 testbed and VEX code v5. With this, we're going to continue on. They give us in activity 3.1.2, so we can look at all kinds of devices that servo motors use. And they want us to go ahead and start to look at how do we control the servo motor on our particular test bed. So here we're going to see blue motion block spinning servo B to 100 degrees, and they want us to go ahead and change that out, download run the program, and then change the value from 100 to 0, run it again, and be able to see what we kind of have go on. So, and then they want us to expand on that program. So let's go ahead and go into VEX code. I'm going to click on the motion section to go up to this one. If I look down here toward the bottom, I've got the servo motor section, subsection. So here I can grab spin servo motor B, servo B to position 50 degrees. So they want us to go to start off with, they want us to go to 100 degrees. So as I click inside the contextual menu, if it highlights all in blue, I can just start typing 100. Now we'll override it, and then I can go ahead and download the program. So if I hit download and run, you'll see your servo, the servo is going to move to position 100. If I stop the program, you'll notice that it'll go through and the servo will not return back to the home position. Now if I go through and say download again and say run, you're going to notice it just kind of fidgets a little bit, and it stays right in the spot that it was. So what's happening is that it's already at position 100 degrees. So if we tell it to do it again, it's not really going to move much because it's already in that particular position. So I'm going to go ahead and hit stop, and then I can go ahead and look at making some changes. So in this particular scenario, they want us to write a new program. So where we say we go to position 100 degrees, we're going to add a wait 3 seconds block in there and spin the servo motor back to position 0 degrees. So under control, I can find my wait statement. I'll drag and snap that in 3 seconds, and then I can go back up to motion, and I can go ahead and grab that spin servo, and we want to go to 0 degrees. So 0 degrees will return it back to its home position. So that's kind of going to be what we see. So here we can watch the behavior on the brain. So I'm going to go ahead and hit download. So anytime we make changes to a program, we need to make sure we hit download, and then we'll hit run. So you're going to see it's going to be at 100 degrees, 3 seconds, and then it moves to the 0 degree position, and then eventually it will end up stopping there when we run the program. Now, one of the things that maybe I like to do is I'm going to hit stop, is you're going to notice anytime we run the program, the LED turns on. So this is something I've noticed with the VEX v5 test bed, is no matter what, when we run VEX code, that LED will turn on anytime that we run a program to the brain. So here's maybe one thing that we might want to go ahead and do. I'm going to hit stop. And one thing that'll help us, I think, sometimes is to grab a set LED block, and we'll say to turn it off. So then that way, it's kind of a visual indicator that once we run through these commands, then we know, and once it turns the LED off, we know the last step, we're at the very end of the program. So again, I made a change. So let me download. Slot 1, whatever is there is going to get overwritten. I can hit the run button. So here you'll see the LED turns on, our servo moves the position, and then once it goes to 0, you'll notice the LED turned off. So now we know that that was the end of the program. So that can be kind of a way there, or if you don't want the LED to be on at all during this program, we could move this to the top. We download our program here. We run, and the LED never turns on for the entirety of this program. So either way, depending on what it is that you would like to do. So I'll hit stop. Same thing, I could always go through and redo that. So like I said, I usually like to have it at the end. That way I kind of know when the program is completely finished. All right, so now for the next step, they want us to go through, and we will skip this section on sharing the code, but they want us to program our servo to go to various degrees for a certain amount of time. So here we're going to see we've got kind of five positions and 5 time amounts that we're going to move between what we have. So here's what I'm going to do. I'm going to grab these last two, and I'm going to show a quick way to start. I'm going to go ahead and get rid of these. And I'm going to go ahead and show you a quick way that we can go ahead and build this program. So 50 degrees for 2 seconds. I'm going to go ahead and set the first one in here. 50 for 2 seconds. But if I right click on the blue block and choose duplicate, it gives me a duplicate of the block that I selected and of any blocks that are connected to the bottom of the ones that I have. So I'm going to go ahead and click and set those there. And I might go ahead and let me move this over just for a second. And let me go ahead and decrease my zoom. So now that I've got two sections here, I'm going to go back up, right click on the same block again, hit duplicate. Now it's going to give me 4 more blocks. So there's where I'm going to go ahead and snap to there. And then if I want to grab just 2 blocks, which is going to be what I have left to do, a spin and a wait second, I'm going to grab the last blue block and say duplicate, and then I can go ahead and snap these to the bottom. And then all you have to do is make some changes. So here we've got to 0 degrees for 3 seconds, 50 back for 2, so that's going to be pretty easy to make some changes to. We're going back to 50 for 2, and then 100 for 3, and then back to 50 for 2. So here's our program built, and we can go ahead and download. We'll download to slot 1, hit the run. There we'll see it move between the different positions. And that should be the end of the program. So again, usually what I like to do is notice that LED is still on. So maybe we go ahead and snap that to the bottom and say, well, let's turn this off. Re-download. Run our program. Okay, now we see that LED turn off, and we know that the program is done running. So one little thing, so sometimes just to make sure that everything is going through as planned. So we can go ahead and hit stop. And then at this point, we want to go ahead, and now that we've got our program ready for submission, let's go ahead and go up here to hit the share button. And the share button is going to generate a PDF. Now, I'm going to go ahead and make sure this gets routed to the same folder that I had here. And I can go ahead and keep the file name the exact same as what the VEX code file is, but the PDF extension is going to show up on it. So if I was to move to that folder, I'm going to see I got two parts here. I got a PDF file and I have a VEX code file. So when I open up the PDF file, it will show what a PDF of what our program looks like. And this is how we would go through and maybe submit some of our programs. So I'm going to go ahead and close that out. And now, before I go through and make any changes to this program, I'm going to get ready for part 3, so which is going to be the next section. So I'm going to go ahead and go to File, Save As, and then I'm going to go ahead and change this from 2 to 3 and hit Save. Once I see that this is saved as part 3, now I'm good to get rid of this entire program and prepare for part 3. So that's a little bit different than what we're used to doing as far as saving files, but the autosave feature in this VEX code program tends to go through and cause some problems. So this keeps us from allowing to keep moving forward, not have to redoing a motor and sensor setup, and just continuing to kind of move on as we go forward. So check out the next video for part 3, where we're going to start controlling some of our smart motors that we have on our test bed.